I think it was 1952 that every baby that was born in Jacaranda Hospital was then given a seedling as a reminder of their birth.
The Sutherland Shire Museum publishes a quarterly bulletin. One of our members talks about the Jacaranda Hospital, but the story about Irene Haxton having planted street trees in English Street, Cronulla, jacarandas, to make the street beautiful, and deciding to give a jacaranda in a tin to new mothers to take home with them. And say, plant it in the yard, and then 50 years later, the kids drive past and say, "We used to live there, and there's my jacaranda tree in the backyard."
I was born at Jacaranda Hospital in 1951, and my two sisters came along later. We did have a jacaranda tree in our backyard. I think that might have been for my sister's birth. The whole Shire is completely, you can see them everywhere, and I know a lot of them will not have been planted for that reason, but a lot have. Babies were born at home, or they were born in small maternity hospitals, and oftentimes the hospital had the name of the nurse, like it would be Nurse Packham's private hospital, or Nurse Smith's hospital. This particular one she called Jacaranda because she obviously had a great love of the tree itself.
The story goes on to say, when Miranda Fair was built, she used to go to the roof and look out over the Sutherland Shire and see all the jacarandas now blooming.
I wasn't really even aware it was a special thing until I got older, and then I remember reading in the paper, the local paper, that you know, you could go to the top of Miranda Fair, and I thought, well, of course, who knew? But yes, that figured, but as a child I didn't know that was a thing. In fact, I actually did a terrible thing and stripped the jacaranda tree in our backyard to make a cubby house from the fronds, and got into a lot of trouble because I think my mother quite treasured that tree and I didn't know how much. I do remember when my first sister and I used to be small, we had no TV, and TV was a very special thing. You would have people who would go and stand in front of electronic shop windows and watch black and white TV in the window. It didn't matter what was on, it was a novelty. And we didn't have one, but the hospital did have a little black and white TV, and Sister Haxton, I always remember, said to my mother, if the girls want to come across and watch TV, they can. So that's the thing I really mostly remember about Sister Haxton, because as a small child I didn't have too much knowledge of her, but I just remember her being kind and letting us go and watch the Mickey Mouse Club. The buildings, I took photos of the building in 1998, and I think at that stage it was being pulled down for townhouses or villas, and I think that then it was a nursing home, and then it was torn down and put up for villas, which I think was very sad because it was a bit of like a piece of my childhood missing, and I've still got the photos.
There's a tremendous display of them in front of the Como Hotel because they've been planted along the footpath area there, and down Caringbah South through Woolooware, Cronulla, Miranda. They're also in other areas because people possibly took them home to the St George area. But the story in Sutherland Shire is a great favourite because everyone's heard it.
I do think that they're beautiful trees, and I know they're not native Australian trees, I think they're South American, but they are stunning looking when they're out in November, and yeah, I just wish they would be out more of the year, to be honest.
Sometimes in bush care they say, if it's not native, it goes. I don't think they've dared list jacarandas yet to be removed.